I was really thinking about it because I was talking about in the book. Have these this type of tragedy or crisis that we're going through, is it part of a bigger plan? Is it something that we were meant to, I would say, um, experience? You know, was it something that's meant for us here to learn from, to grow from, to understand more about each other as humans? Hey everyone, we are back. We're back with another video here for you guys today. My daily videos, and what's turned out to be, like I said, a quarantine documentary for myself. Hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you guys are doing your own videos and really enjoying your time alone, or time with your family, or time with yourself, which is something that we kind of often, I think, take for granted. But as I'm reading my books as much as I can. I don't have enough time like before, but since we're homeschooling, um, I came across a real quick question for everybody here, and anybody that's ever thought about it. What's going on right now with the pandemic? It's a great question to ask ourselves, right? Oftentimes we feel that, why is this happening to us? Why now? Maybe we had, I know my daughter was supposed to graduate next coming month. A lot of graduations, a lot of milestones for a lot of people, and all these things have been they've been canceled. So a lot of us have to think outside the box, try to celebrate other ways, right? As opposed to the old fashioned ways that we're accustomed to, which are great and very, very monumental for a lot of individuals. I know for myself, my graduations were part of like that. I would say the ending of a chapter and the opening of a new one, right? And as every good story, every good book has its good chapters, and those graduations were kind of just chapters in our lives, right? And now with this pandemic and stuff like that, we have to change course, and people are looking for all creative ways. And I just watched the great the guy from The Office, I forgot his name, John, I forgot his last name, but he's a great guy. He has his own show now here on YouTube, and it's called Some Good News. And I want to give a shout out to his show, because his show just talks about great stories about those on the front line, and just positivity, which is something that I think a lot of us tend to kind of forget of, how much it matters in people's lives, and brings others to a different energy, where we can all kind of combat this together and make it more of a learning experience, as opposed to a victimization period where we kind of feel powerless, and I would say unworthy, and we feel like everything is crumbling. At the same time, he was showing how he was able to get these great famous or celebrities or people that are very influential in our society today to become to have their commencement speeches on, obviously, a virtual call, for the individuals that are very that we're very lucky to have him on. So talk about adapting, and I would say being able to innovate, right? These are things that we never saw years, I would say, last year. So these are new trends, might be the new norm, might it be that something that we can continue doing for the rest of the next couple of years. Who knows what happens with this pandemic? But as we are becoming innovative and coming out with new ways to still connect, still be able to I would say stay in contact with other people, and still socialize at some point, somehow, some way. I was really thinking about it because I was talking about in the book. Have this type of tragedy or crisis that we're going through, is it part of a bigger plan? Is it something that we were meant to, I would say, experience? Was it something that's meant for us here to learn from, to grow from, to understand more about each other as human beings, as society, as an individual? Is this something that is put in our paths, in general, all of us, so that we can see each other at a different, I would say, perspective? And these questions we often don't ask him that much, but in the book he was talking about how most he believes in synchronicity, how most events that we think that are not important to us or are not meant to happen are meant to happen, um, and how sometimes we have life events, whether it be this with the graduations all canceled, um, you know, for some young kids here watching, or for people that are graduating from college, maybe this is a moment where it's supposed to happen for you because now you might use this as a reminder of how important it is to connect with other individuals and keep relationships, and also um, just be I would say grateful of the current times. Sometimes we think things gonna last forever, and we kind of take things for granted. I'm a big culprit of that. I kind of don't tend to take what's that word called? I do kind of take for granted a lot of things, and gratefulness and gratitude. I think these are things that I kind of practice and work on. And I think a lot of us don't, you know, practice it as well or enough, because a lot of things that we have around us, that we've been given, if you look around, if you sit down, and you really think about it, are gifts in our lives. And this moment right now, this crisis and pandemic, has made me realize, how lucky I am, right? Having everything that I have, and given everything I've been given. So we all have our times in our lives where we kind of have those realizations, right? And maybe this time where things are crumbling, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. We're losing their jobs. People are losing family members, friends. The norm that you have every day, you're losing it. A lot of the things that we are used to visiting and keeping us busy are all closed down. These are things that we kind of take for granted. So maybe these things are in place in our lives to really, when we go back to everything being reinstated and being opened, being more grateful of those individuals that we otherwise thought they really didn't mean much, or they really had no impact on your lives, right? From everybody, from your mailman, from your barber, from your garbage collector, man, right? I know, everybody's home, and some people are not able to work, or they're working from home. Our especially in New York City, our I don't want to sanitation department. Sorry, I don't want to say garbage. Sanitation department individuals are out there, keeping our streets clean. Cleaning the streets and collecting the garbage that is still accumulating in our households. Right? They're basically putting their their lives on the line to make sure our streets are not filled with obviously debris and garbage, and they're making sure the streets are staying clean. Right? So these are, although the health workers are doing great, I'm not saying health workers are any less. I think anybody that's in the front line is working out there every single day are working jobs that we otherwise took for granted, looked over. We thought that was just jobs, but they're more than jobs, right? They're out there while a lot of us are in our house, or in our homes, sorry, or in our homes, very comfortable, and have the luxury to work from home. Those that do. I think for the next half of the year, we can work on showing our appreciation, our kindness to those that work in those industries, right? And I think I've seen a lot of display of that, especially in New York City. We were driving by New York City the other day, and at 7 o'clock they have a ritual where everybody comes out their windows and they clap their hands, hit their pots and pans, and they congratulate and celebrate those that are out there fighting and working against this virus. And I really believe that these things right now are showing us that maybe, although it looks like a bad thing that we're facing, I think it's something that we needed as a humanity. And of course, a lot of conspiracies, why it's out there and what's this doing. And I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about just the really mental aspect of it, of how it brings more awareness to how much more value we have to each other. How every single person in this world, every single body, everybody out there, any of you watching, you all have value in this world. And that's something I know I kind of took for granted. Didn't realize how some jobs that I had are very important to society as a whole. Might not be the best paying jobs, but their role as critical it can be in everyday lives and how we function on a society basis. So yeah, so my video thoughts today here, maybe what's happening right now is meant to happen, and it's only for us to get better, be better, come back stronger, come back more aware, come back more wise, more grateful of our lives. So that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Peace.